Someone standing on a United States Air Force base pulled out their phone and recorded this. A massive tornado forming right in front of them, churning through the ground just south of the installation, heading straight toward the city of Enid, Oklahoma. This is not simulation footage. This is not a training exercise. This is a real tornado, recorded in real time by someone watching it tear apart their community from the fence line of a military base. And by the time it was over, homes were gone, power was out across the city, and for the first time in recent memory, a tornado forced a United States Air Force Base to shut its doors entirely. To understand what happened Thursday night, you first need to know where Enid sits. Enid is a city of about 50,000 people in Garfield County, in the northern part of Oklahoma, right in the heart of Tornado Alley. This is a region that has lived alongside tornado threats for generations. Residents here know the drill. They watch the skies, they know the sirens, they know what rotating clouds mean. But even for a city that has seen its share of severe weather, what happened on the evening of April 23rd, 2026 was something different. The National Weather Service had already issued tornado watches and warnings across the region as a powerful storm system pushed through northern Oklahoma. Then, just after dark, the tornado touched down. The twister was confirmed on the ground by the National Weather Service as it moved across parts of Enid, cutting a path of destruction through neighborhoods that had been standing just minutes before. Roofs were ripped clean off of buildings. Homes were not just damaged, some were completely destroyed, reduced to piles of wood, insulation, and shattered glass. Power poles snapped along entire streets, taking down electrical lines and plunging large sections of the city into darkness. The Enid Police Department immediately began fielding reports of people trapped inside their homes buried under debris, unable to get out on their own. Emergency responders mobilized across the city, and authorities went door to door through the night, street by street, house by house, checking on every resident they could reach in the areas the tornado had torn through. By the time the Garfield County Sheriff's Office was able to give an initial assessment, the damage was extensive. But here's the number that stopped people in their tracks: no fatalities. In a storm that destroyed homes outright, that ripped roofs off buildings and snapped utility poles, only minor injuries were reported. That is, by any measure, a miracle. But the story of this tornado is not just about the neighborhoods it destroyed. Because this twister hit close enough to a United States military installation that Vance Air Force Base itself took damage and was forced to shut down. That is not something you hear every day. Vance Air Force Base is home to the 71st Flying Training Wing, one of the primary pilot training facilities in the entire U.S. Air Force. It sits just on the edge of Enid, and on Thursday night it sat directly in the storm's path. By early Friday morning, base commanders issued an official announcement. Vance Air Force Base was closed until further notice. The reason: ongoing power and water restoration efforts. The tornado had knocked out utilities to the base itself. Only mission-essential personnel, those required to support critical operation and help restore base utilities, were permitted to report for duty. Everyone else was ordered to stay home and monitor official base communication channels for updates. Earlier in the night, before the full picture was clear, base officials said they were still working to assess the complete extent of damage and were actively conducting accountability procedures to confirm that every single service member on base was safe and accounted for. Think about that for a moment. A U.S. Air Force Base conducting accountability procedures after a tornado, shut down because of storm damage, with no power, no water. That is the scale of what hit Enid on Thursday night. Oklahoma sits at the core of what meteorologists call Tornado Alley, the stretch of the central United States where conditions are uniquely favorable for producing powerful tornadoes. Warm, moist air flows north from the Gulf of Mexico. Cold, dry air sweeps down from Canada. Those two air masses collide right over Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas, and when the atmospheric conditions are right, the result is supercell thunderstorms capable of producing some of the most violent tornadoes on Earth. April and May are peak season. Historically, Oklahoma sees more violent tornadoes per square mile than almost anywhere else in the world. The state has lived through some of the most catastrophic twisters in American history, including the 1999 Bridge Creek Moore tornado, which produced wind speeds of over 300 miles per hour, the highest ever recorded on Earth at the time. Enid itself has been struck before, but Thursday's tornado, confirmed, destructive, and powerful, is a reminder that no matter how familiar a community is with the risk, a tornado does not ask for permission. Even before the tornado had fully passed, Enid's community was already mobilizing. The Oakwood Christian Church opened its doors that same night, becoming an emergency shelter for families who had lost their homes or had no safe place to sleep. Volunteers showed up. Neighbors checked on neighbors. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office, despite its own phone lines being knocked out by the storm damage, stayed in communication with residents, directing people to call 911 for emergencies while continuing their door-to-door welfare checks through the night. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt addressed the state via social media, asking Oklahomans to pray for the Enid community, describing it as severely impacted by the night's tornado. And the Oklahoma Office of Emergency Management confirmed it was fully engaged on the ground, coordinating resources and response across the affected areas. This is what Tornado Alley communities do. They don't wait. They don't ask. They show up for each other because they know that someday it might be their street, their roof, their home. Friday morning arrived over a different Enid than the one that had woken up Thursday. Residents walked out to find their streets covered in debris, trees uprooted, cars flipped, insulation hanging from power lines. The full damage assessment was just beginning, and with Vance Air Force Base still closed, power still out in sections of the city, and cleanup crews just starting to move in, the full picture of Thursday night's destruction was still coming into focus. What was already clear: this tornado left a mark on Enid that will take weeks, possibly months, to fully recover from. A city of 50,000 people, a United States Air Force Base, both hit by the same tornado on the same night. No lives were lost, and in a storm this powerful, that outcome is never guaranteed. But the road ahead for Enid is long. Families need to rebuild, utilities need to be restored, and a military base that trains the next generation of U.S. pilots needs to get back on its feet. We'll continue tracking the recovery in Enid as damage assessments develop throughout the coming days. If you want to stay updated on major weather events like this as they happen, with the full story, subscribe. That's what we're here for. Stay safe, Oklahoma.
Their home's completely gone. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh dear God. Oh.